Hello there, Kickstarter update time. Before I get started, apologies for the battered face. I appear to have some awful outbreak of acne for some reason. I'm going to guess it's stress related. What I've been doing this week is transitioning this prototype, which works wonderfully, it just sounds great, I can't stop playing with it, on the breadboard onto a circuit board. And the reason we do this is because I'm translating this into a diagram on the computer. I can make errors as I copy it, or things might just not work quite the way you expect on a board. So this has been wonderful. This extremely large board, which we make with the larger size components, because I can't always solder the small ones, apart from a few that are critical, has done its job wonderfully. It's caught errors like the fact that I transcribed one of the treble part actually backwards, because we're plugging in wires on this board, and we don't always, it's quite chaotic. So when I didn't realise I put it backwards, so the treble part on this goes backwards. So caught that, won't be in the final release. Some other mistakes, some component values I'd copied across wrong, bit of diagram copied wrong. It's so easy to do this when you're copying 1,000 things, but this board is your proof of concept and lets us sort of verify that I've done a good copy. So this works-ish. Bit of a problem here, and this is what I've been working all week. So I put it together, found the faults, I'm very happy with this. And this giant pedal, if I plug it in, unfortunately, has a bit of a bugbear that I haven't been able to figure out. So there we go, we're plugged in now. We should hopefully have a little bit of sound, maybe, if I've done it right. Just my luck to not have any volume. Oh, plenty of volume. So there we go, actually sounds great, this. Treble works backwards. Hopefully you can hear that. The mid boost button. Bass boost. Great. The mid control is wonderful. Excessive mid. And the mid-frequency shift works. Pretty happy as a rule, but unfortunately in transcribing the layout, something weird has happened. This one is rock solid, the original, and then normally with all the wires all over the place on these things, usually they pick up every kind of horrible noise imaginable. For some reason, this is more unstable. So if I turn the volume up on this, I'll show you what happens. So this is a really typical example of the sort of stuff that can go wrong. Something in this layout is more critical about where it's positioned than I expected. And I've got to try and figure that out. So I've been hammering at it with my oscilloscope, trying to diagnose it, but so far I'm not really having much luck. Obviously the gain circuit is the culprit in as much as it's creating the boost, but it seems to be centered around this mid circuit as well, because if I tap this you can hear a bit of a change. So you can hear that totally shifted the frequency. So I need to that isn't going to be the final prototype. We're going to have to do another one. So what I think I'll have to do next week is I'm going to come back to this because I'm exhausted now. Really look at that circuit again. I've got over it 100 times this week, making sure all the parts are in the right places, and they are. Definitely sure of that now. Which is great. That was important. I need to work out what's going on and possibly redo that circuit board with screening traces and some other bits and bobs in place that aren't in place right now. Maybe break it down, separate it into sections, and really try and identify where the problem is. It could be something to do with the way the relay works. You can't pass through the relay, but no, because that one doesn't have a relay. But I cut it out of the circuit, the problem remained. Thought it could be the power supply. I've tried a couple of different ways. No, that didn't solve it. So I say I'm going to have a really long think, look at different people's schematics, see if there's anything I'm doing that's unexpected. I'm not sure. I don't think there is. It might just boil down to this is a really high gain circuit, and the board layout might really matter. Yeah, but I mean, this little problem aside, you know, if we dial the volume back, right back, yeah, it could just be volume because there's my clean and there's that. Maybe I'm just putting too much volume through. It didn't seem to be a problem on the original. Maybe there's just wet far too much. Volume. There's just far too much volume coming through. Yeah. Could be that simple. Scaling that volume back creates stability. So maybe something's not dropping the volumes it should. Certainly, I noticed a really interesting thing, which is actually super frustrating. The good quality pots on this one, the ones I intend to use, are really linear, which is nice. The cheap quality pots I used on the prototype on the board, they're not really linear, they're a bit of a rubbish curve. That rubbish curve sounds really nice and smooth. The messed up curve is nice. They just don't fit in the case. So I'm going to think about that too and see if somewhere I can emulate that rubbish curve on my pedal because I really like it. But yeah, we're kind of there. Could be too much volume. You know what? I think we might nail it actually. That much volume might be what's causing the mid control to sound squonky because the mid's what comes after the volume in this. The volume isn't actually in the chain. And you see the mid works now. Might have nailed it. Don't know why there's too much volume in this. Let's go through it afterwards. Maybe there's somewhere it's not dropping volume. It should, that one is. Maybe I still missed something. See, that's stable. If we go for... That's maximum gain. Just the volume's really low. But in bypass, we're not losing a lot. Yeah, it's about right and there's no... Too much volume maybe. Maybe too much volume somehow. Just raw volume overloading the chips. I think yeah. Talking to you guys has helped me solve the problem. We'll get back to you. In the meantime, check out the mids. Loads of mid, loads of scoop. The range on this is mad. All the scoop, all the boost. And then we've got like the Fender mids. Fender used to use like 300 hertz as mids, and it's fat. How round is that? Add a bit of fatness from a 6L6 amp mode. Ooh, careful feedback, maybe. A bit less treble. A bit more wide range mid boost. I feel like I'm getting right back to like the dirty kind of doom metal sound there. This does so many different sounds. Let's dial that back a little, add some bass in. Ooh, that's not the pedal, that's just me being too loud. Brighten that up. Anyway, you don't want to watch me playing. I think we may have solved a problem. So we're very close. One more prototype, check the gain levels. I'll run them through the oscilloscope and check at every single point. So we've got like a dozen 12 op amps in this, and what we'll basically do is go through this one with a fixed signal level and measure that level at every stage, write it down, repeat it with that one, see if there's any discrepancies in volume, because you know, I'm betting there is. That was way too loud when I was switching it across, and you know, that would do it, because if the output level is really high, some of that can capacitively couple to the input, and then you've got an internal feedback loop, and that is what creates oscillation. It's the same with a circuit as with an amp. It's exactly the same. You know, the electromagnetic coupling of a circuit creates a cascade that creates feedback. It's just we tend to have a higher pitched feedback. In a circuit, it tends to be squeal. Live, it can be quite pleasant. So yeah, anyway, I'll upload this video. I'm going to go home now and drink some tea, because I'm very British about this. I've got some lovely loose leaf tea. I think I got a nice smoky one. I'm going to have one of my smoky teas. Oh, I'm looking forward to this. A cup of tea and a scone. I shall see you next week, and yeah, I think we might crack it. One more prototype.